Welcome to another segment of Lore You Should Know. I am Greg Tito, and I'm joined by
Chris Perkins.
And we are going to talk about a topic that is involved with Eberron Rising from the Last War, coming out November 19th. And that is the Draconic Prophecy, or the Dragon Prophecy?
The Draconic Prophecy.
The Draconic Prophecy.
Yes.
It is written in Draconic? The language?
Yes. Yes.
By
dragons.
By dragons themselves.
Yeah.
They can actually hold pens and,
yeah.
Well, I guess they can polymorph into humans.
Yeah. Some of them can. True.
The big,
yes.
I can
I just love that big crayon.
Big crayon that their big claws are holding on to.
The Draconic Prophecy isn't. Sometimes it's written in the stars.
Ah. Yeah. So what is the Draconic Prophecy?
So a little bit of lore. In the world of Eberron, there is this creation myth that Eberron was born out of three dragons: Sybaris, Eberron, and Kyber. Sybaris represents the sky and the shards, and the ring around
the firmament above.
The ring around the planet, because Eberron does have a ring.
Like a Saturn's rings, like an actual ring around the planet.
Actual ring around the planet, but it's made out of these shards that are, according to the creation myth, the remnants of Sybaris, who was destroyed by its sibling Kyber, who was then banished by the third dragon, Eberron, into the heart of the world, the underworld. And so Sybaris is the ring, Kyber is the underworld. Eberron is, wrapped itself around Kyber to hold Kyber prisoner, and is the world itself.
Got it.
The world is called Eberron.
Because it is of the body
yes,
of
exactly.
this Draconic god.
Exactly. While Sybaris is above and Kyber's within. So the dragons that inhabit this planet, the real dragons, the modern day ones, originate from a continent on the planet called Arganesson. Which few humans ever have the pleasure or peril, displeasure, more likely, of visiting. It is in the southern hemisphere of the planet. It is remote. It's fairly inhospitable. It's unsettled, and dragons live there all over the place. It's big, real big.
And are they chromatic dragons?
Chromatic and metallics.
Ah, okay,
yes.
Good to know.
And possibly other types too, which we don't really talk much about.
Gem?
Possibly. Why not?
We'll call them Gym.
It fits.
Gym dragons.
Gym dragons? Like GYM, like they're just buff and spend all day pumping iron. Yeah, okay. I like that.
Well, we'll put it in.
Sounds good.
Okay, so there's different metallic and chromatic
and
cavorting gym dragons.
Cavorting on this remote continent. And the reason why they kind of coexist is because written in the stars, written in the rocks, written in everything that Sybaris, Kyber, and Eberron ever touched or breathed on, are these indicators of what they intended for their, great and glorious future, and the future of all dragonkind. And the dragons are fixated on this idea of figuring out what the prophecy is, what it says, and what it means. And in terms of the actual game, it's kind of left a little fast and loose. You can find things of the Draconic Prophecy etched into a stone that might be lodged in some remote forest, like the Eldine Reaches or whatever. You might find it in a cave, written on the walls. You may find it inscribed upon the scales of an ancient petrified dragon that was buried under an avalanche in the mountains of the Maror Holds. The prophecy is scattered across the world. And what the dragons do is, through their agents, or sometimes on their own, go out and find these fragments. And they're essentially putting together a puzzle and trying to find, but the pieces of this jigsaw puzzle are scattered all over the world. So they're going out looking and bringing them back and sort of putting them all together, and individually, because they're competitive, trying to figure out what is the prophecy's end game? What is it steering us toward? What is it warning us about? And how can we manipulate events in the world around us to make the prophecy come true? Because if it comes true, we're going to get our just rewards. We're going to get our payoff. We're going to get everything. We're going to know why we were placed on this world, why we were left here. all of that will be made clear when the prophecy is known in its entirety. And some dragons have large pieces of this prophecy that they've amassed over the years because they live, thousands of years.
Yeah.
And this is an obsession with them. They spend all of their time trying to piece the prophecy together and then interpret it. And sometimes the interpretations are, in order for us to get what we want, the king of Breland must die, but he must die by the crystal hand of the one without a son. It's all kind of riddle-like.
Yeah.
And so what they do is these dragons interpret those mystic little phrases and then try to make them happen, make the prophecy come true so that the next stitch of the prophecy can come true.
Mm-hmm.
And so they orchestrate behind the scenes all kinds of covert operations designed to make things happen. They can't just kill the king of Breland if the prophecy tells them to, because the prophecy also tells them how the king must die.
I see.
And it's not getting eaten by a dragon. They've got to shape events so that the king dies the way the prophecy says he must.
So they're just trying to find that guy with the crystal hand.
Exactly.
And then, okay, now you got to kill this king. And he's like, what? I just have a crystal hand.
And they may not even come to that guy directly. They just might put that guy in a room with the king.
And
you
hope
know what I mean?
and hope the
that,
prophecy.
Exactly. So in terms of play, what happens is the characters are just going on their adventures and doing all the things that adventurers do in the world of Eberron. But they might stumble upon a benefactor who says, we've got to find this crystal falcon statue, or we've got to go to this planar observatory that was damaged during the last war and repair it and get it working again. And you're like, why? Oh, well, because of this reason. But there's another reason that maybe they're working for a dragon who knows that the planar observatory has to be operational because they have to know where this star is going to be in the sky on a certain time and place to sort of get a pointer to something else that's going to do this thing, that's going to do this thing over here. And so they're all of this
web of
it's this
events.
Web of orchestrated events that are happening behind the scenes. And eventually in your campaign, the characters are probably going to get a whiff that there's an external force that's sort of puppeteering a lot of what's going on in the world. Who is that? Why are they doing it? And can we meet these meddlers?
Yeah.
And then you discover, oh my God, it's a red dragon or it's a silver dragon or whatever. So that's what the prophecy is. Basically, it's a thing that the dragons know about, that they each interpret in their own way, and that they're searching for more information of, while also pushing events around the world in play to make things happen.
How do they know, the dragons, how do they know it will be net positive for them? Like, has it been said that if this comes true, all of your answers will be told?
It has to be, right?
No.
Why put them through this game if there's no grand prize?
Who do they think set the game? Eberron, their god.
The creation dragons basically laid all these things out for them.
All three of them, or
if you ask a different dragon, might say one, the other, or all three. But it's this sense of entitlement. Like this is why we were put on the planet. This is what we have to do. And besides, what else are we going to do? Eat all the humans? If we eat all the humans, the prophecy says bad things will happen. So I guess we shouldn't do that.
Okay.
So
you almost have to believe under all this. There's a faith.
Yeah, there is a faith, or you could just call it an obsession. It may be an unhealthy obsession that they've put more stock in this than is really necessary. It could be a cosmic joke. But the dragons don't believe that something this intricate can be anything but good for them.
And I assume we leave this open-ended for players and dungeon masters.
That's the idea.
Is it written anywhere that's what the dragon prophecy means?
No. So it's designed so that you can basically sculpt your own portion of the dragon prophecy and make it pertinent to the events in the moment. Because the other thing about the dragon prophecy is it's not meant to play out in a year or 3 years or 10 years. It's a millennia's game that the dragons are playing. Right. And, the really old dragons that are close to death might actually take less of an interest in the Draconic prophecy because they realize it probably won't get solved in their lifetime. But the young ones are avaricious about trying to pursue it. and see it to its conclusion. It's kind of like, have you ever watched the movie It's a Mad, 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 Mad World?
Parts of it, but never the whole
it's
thing.
like, I think it's a movie from the 70s.
Yeah, with all the
Basically,
different movie stars.
different movie stars, and they're all trying to hunt for this treasure that they're told is buried under the big W. And so it's this cross-country trek following clues to try to figure out where the treasure is buried, and the first one that gets there gets the prize. And what you realize in the movie, of course, is it's a mislead.
Yeah.
And they don't get what they want. There might be some of that element to it too, but the pursuit is worth it in their mind, and the potential glory / payoff, maybe I'll rise to a god, who knows, kind of thing is too much of a lure for a greedy dragon to resist.
Are there are the pieces magical in some way? Like, is there some way to verify that they are real? Or could there be another force that's manipulating?
Is it authentic prophecy or not?
Yes.
It's funny you should say that. You can't tell. And there are forces who are seeding bogus prophecy stuff, either to keep the dragons from meddling in their business, or to potentially get the dragons to do something that will destroy the world by mistake.
Okay.
So the forces that I'm talking about are the Lords of Dust. Who are fiends, mainly Rakshasas, that are trapped in the world and serving these overlords, these demonic beings that have been trapped in various ways. And some of this is talked about in Rising from the Last War.
That sounds like another topic to delve into.
Exactly. So they are, to benefit their overlords and to free them, they've got to make sure that the Draconic prophecy doesn't
get fulfilled. So they're misdirecting and trying to manipulate it that way.
Yeah, it's more intrigue. For an intrigue-laced game, we have even another layer of intrigue. This layer that characters might not even know that they're a part of this much bigger meta story.
Very interesting. And I love how you can compare it to the society that's left after the last war, where like we don't know what is happening and where it is going on, but there are forces out there who are trying to find out more and manipulate for their own advantage, whatever is the short term or long term.
One of the great things that this Draconic prophecy does is it allows dragons to exist in the world while simultaneously giving an explanation for why they just don't run roughshod over everybody and take over the entire place.
Because the prophecy says.
Yeah, because the prophecy says they have to do things a certain way.
Yeah.
And so you get your dragons, but they're sort of background shady figures, as opposed to sitting on thrones and doing what they could be doing.
Yeah, very fascinating.
Yeah.
When are the Dust Brothers going to release their album next? That's what I want to know. No, sorry, the Lords of Dust Brothers.
Lords of Dust Brothers, yeah.
I want a techno remix of the Sharn.
What kind of music would Rakshasas make?
Oh, very eclectic, but still got like a
they play
danceable beat
guitar
to it.
the weird way because their hands are backwards, right? That's so weird.
So they can do the multi-necked, the multi. Very fascinating. Well, thank you very much. Lots of stuff there to delve into, and hopefully people will do that when Eberron Rising from the Last War comes out on November 19th.
Why do Rakshasas have backwards hands would be a good future Laurie Should Know topic.
Yeah, we're putting it on the list.
All right.
Yes, I love it. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Chris. If people want to ask you questions, how can they do so?
I am on Eberron at chrisperkinsdnd.com.
You are the dragon that is writing the Draconic prophecy for everyone.
I'm on Twitter at chrisperkinsdnd.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. We'll be back with some more fun lore next week. Bye-bye. Awesome, everyone. We are going to send it off to Binwin Plays, Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. Go ahead
Binwin!
To the back. All right. We'll see you later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go watch some fun Binwin. Make it happen. Bye-bye.